Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecolored.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me, and this is what I'm going to be making today. We're going to continue with the project from where we left off today. Now, if this is the first time that you've come across this project and you're thinking, actually, I'd like to see this from the start, there is a playlist. All right, so go and find that. I will link it. I will link it below, and you can go and go back and see what you missed. But let's just carry on, shall we? So I have some I have some gloss gel medium. Exact brand doesn't particularly matter. And I put some out on my tray here. This is Cherry Cobbler card, and I've got some Merry Merlot re-inker, which I'm going to mix with the gel medium. PVA can be used for this, but you won't get quite such a good texture. So I'm mixing that up, and I've got some on there. That doesn't matter because in a minute I'm just going to spread this all over the card, and if the ink hasn't fully incorporated, that doesn't matter either. And I've got gloves on, as you can see, because I don't want to have to try and get Merry Merlot ink off my fingers, because I don't know what it is about the red inks, but they do stain. Alright, so that's got a fairly even coating. Right, now I've got a sponge roller. I'm going to dip it in water and just squeeze out most of the water, and now I'm just going to run that once over the card. So try and do this. I said once, but as you can see, I'm doing it more than once. And what I'm trying to do is to get a nice texture onto that card, which I have done. So I'm going to drop my sponge roller straight into my little pot of water here, and I'm going to let everything dry. Oh, and I'm going to clean up this mess. And here it is after it's had some time for the glue. 3, 2, 1. And here it is after it's had plenty of time for everything to dry and to set. And as you can see, can you see it's got a very nice leather-like texture on it, and it's lovely and shiny, so I'm very, very happy with that. And I've trimmed it down to 11 inches by, and that looks like 6 1/4. All right. So, yes, so basically I've cut it so that it fits exactly in one side of my Stylish Scrolls embossing folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss that side, and then I'm going to move it along and emboss that side. And with any luck at all, if I've measured it correctly, that bit in the middle will be 2 inches wide and will be the width of the spine of the book. So fingers crossed, here we go. I've got my embossing plates here. So now, because this is not a dynamic embossing folder, I need the standard platform that came with my Big Shot, and I'm going to need 2 cutting plates. So I've got those ready by my side, and I'm just going to lightly, and I mean very lightly, spritz the back of the card. Line up my embossing folder, and away I go. Be back in a second. And here it is. all embossed. So now I'm going to take the cover of my book and I'm going to start at the spine because I want that to be centered. And it is quite important that you bring the paper to the book base rather than laying it flat. You want it to, you kind of want it to be able to curve with the book. Oops. Bit of glue on there, but that won't matter because it will dry clear and glossy, and it will look like it is part of the idea. Okay, so can you see how that is kind of wrinkles away when you open it up? That's okay, and that's okay. I'm just going to get my bone folder and I'm just going to run it in that little crease there. That's going to give me a nice sharp finish. Okay, now I'm going to let that set before I do any more trimming, but what I am going to do, I'm going to snip up along that spine there and that spine there. Just to reduce the bulk. And same thing here, and I don't know why I didn't just do this in the first place. Brain was on holiday. Okay. Alright. And actually I think I will continue with bringing this one, sticking the cover down onto this one at this time, because I might as well give it plenty of time for the adhesive to set. And this is one of those I do like doing a project that, you know, I have to spend a bit of time doing. Right, I'm just going to trim off the corners here, and I'm just leaving a tiny little bit. I'm not trimming it off right flush with that cardboard, I'm leaving just a tiny little bit. Just cutting a tiny little bit outside it. And the same thing on this side. Just a tiny little bit. Two opposite sides first. So I've given that plenty of time for the embossing paste to set, and it's given me kind of a look of kind of rough old pages. I want them to have a bit more bling, so I've gilded these two ends, and I'm just going to do the same thing on the side just to show you. So I've got my Delicata ink and a stiff brush, and actually you can speed this up by taking the ink pad and just going direct to the card, and then I can use my stencil brush just to fill in the bits that I've missed. Now it is fairly, I'd say fairly, it's very kind of rough textured, but that's okay because I want the effect of a book that's kind of seen life. Right, so that'll take a little time for the ink to set because it is a pigment ink, but it won't take that long. It'll take a little while. So while that is happening, I'm going to cover this edge of it. Oh, and I don't know whether you noticed, but I'll just show you what I did here as well, because I kind of covered along the top there, just like that. Okay, so I've cut a strip of my paper. This is from the Bird Ballad suite, the Bird Ballad stack, I should say, and I've cut it to 1.5 inches, and I just measured it up against my my piece of card. Just pack that on there. Right, now, I suppose strictly speaking, I could have got away with not covering that, but I just kind of like it to be all finished off. So same thing here. I'm just going to snip and pop that inside. And as well as looking pretty, it'll add some rigidity to the side of the box. So I've done 3 sides. I'm not immediately going to do the 4th because I have a couple of magnets that I want to pop on. So I have 4 of these very tiny, very skinny magnets, and I will put a link to where I get them from because people always ask. One of the glue dots with my piercing tool. Going to pop it onto the back of a magnet, and I'm just going to put the magnet. Can you see that? Yes, you can. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. And now I can go on and trim my paper. You can see that the ink hasn't quite dried yet, but it won't be long. And just stick that piece into place. Corner's not quite stuck, so just make it behave itself. Alright, now that is starting to look really quite nice. This is standing a little proud. That's better. My Delicata ink. I have cut a 3/4 inch piece of the bird ballad paper, and I've cut it to just a little bit shorter than the length of my finished book stroke box, and I'm just going to pop it along there. And I have a just under 2-inch piece, which is, yes, so it's 1 7/8 of an inch wide, which I think is just going to be about enough. I'll cut a piece of that to, I think, just under 5 inches, so 4 7/8 of an inch. Check that for fit. Trim this away slightly from the corners, just slightly. Now I'm going to take the backing away from my construction strips. Put that down for a moment. I'm trying to do two things at once, which isn't always a brilliant idea. And as well as my construction strips, I'm also putting in some of my liquid adhesive, and I'm making sure that the textured edge is towards the outside of the box. And I'm just pushing everything down. Oops, paper's coming adrift there. It's okay, we can fix that. Cut a piece of the DSP that is just under 4.5 and just under 3. And I've tried it for fit to make sure that it does fit snugly inside the base of the box. I'm just going to slip that inside, and so that'll cover up those construction strips, and it will also make the box a little bit stronger. So now it is starting to look like a proper box. And that is where I'm going to leave the project for today. Just to remind you, this is the finished item. This is what we're aiming at. I will be posting the next part very soon, and I will create a playlist so that you can just follow from section to section if you want to. But for now, thank you very much for joining me, and do come back and see me again sometime soon, won't you? Bye bye.